Awesome. All right. So can you hear me? I mean, you can hear me in the back of the room. Can you hear me on the screen?
I can.
Good. Good, good, good. All right. In March, Centers for Spiritual Living opened everything up with the idea of highest possibilities in our lives by living in the question. And then in April, we're beginning this process. Now we're halfway through it or more, about living from this vision that's redefined, this new place that we're moving forward in. So we're embracing change with curiosity as we navigate our new path with practical spirituality. And if you think you aren't traveling on a new path, you are. Today is not the same as yesterday. You are a new person today. So all of us are traveling on a new path, even if it's not very far different from yesterday's path. So every new journey we choose to embark on is filled with excitement and anticipation. Well, almost every new journey. Sometimes we get up in the morning and we go, oh man, morning again. But we also have sometimes feelings of hesitation. This paradoxical state could be called a bless-itation, a combination of blessings and hesitations, because it's all good and we know it's all good, at least on some level. And then still it's like, oh, dang, it's still morning. I got to get up and go do my stuff. So there's some hesitation there. As we travel along, we discover that our blessings and our hesitations are on our new path. Additionally, we have the power, the opportunity to recognize the power of the blessing of whatever it is that's in front of us, whatever it is that's triggering us, whatever it is that's causing us to hesitate. Greeting it with curiosity. Have you ever wondered, why is this happening to me? Yes, of course. What gifts can we discover during moments of bless-itation? We hesitate because we don't know how things are going to turn out. Have you noticed? Okay. I believe we're all living in the not knowing. But sometimes we don't know that we don't know yet. We probably call these times the easy times. We're fairly sure about things. We feel like we're sailing in calm waters, and then something happens. We all do this, like my friend who ran several 5K races with no problem and then tripped on the sidewalk and fell, scraping her hands and knees, stretching muscles she wasn't even sure she had. 1 minute, everything was fine. The next minute, flat on the ground, not knowing what's next. Happens to us. Many years ago, in what seems like another lifetime, I was teaching a programming class in COBOL. Now, one of the characteristics of classes is that they include tests. And I had a morning section of this class and I had an afternoon section of this class. One particular morning, I was sitting at my huge teacher desk while my students were sitting at their individual tables, not unlike you in the audience, taking a test. I decided partway through that this piece of paper that I had right here was not one that I wanted to keep. I wanted to throw it away. And instead of crumpling it up, because that would be too noisy, I folded it very carefully until I had a piece of paper about like so. And then I looked over and my trash can was not even with the backside of my desk where I could easily reach it. It was even with the front side of my desk. So I very carefully stretched my arm as far as I could stretch it, saw the trash can, and flicked the piece of paper, trusting it would go in the trash can. It did. However, flicking the piece of paper was enough to unbalance me on my chair with wheels, which went screeching into the wall behind me, dumping me on the floor. So 1 minute it's deadly quiet, and the next minute this loud screeching noise as the chair goes rolling back, hit the wall behind, dump me on the floor, and I am rolling on the floor with laughter. So much for taking a test. I was laughing so hard, tears were rolling down my face. Talk about not knowing what's next in the next minute. Now, I don't know about you guys, but sometimes I'm a slow learner. Did you catch that I had 2 sections of this class? A morning section and an afternoon section? Well, lo and behold, the afternoon section had a test too. And did I move the trash can where I could reach it easier? No, I did not. And so in the middle of this test, I also fell out of my chair as I tried to throw away the piece of paper. Okay. Twice is enough for me to learn. I moved the trash can, and I went home that day with a sore backside than I've had in a long time. Just sometimes, though, it seems like life throws curves at us. I know that I was the cause of this particular downfall because I threw the piece of paper away. I didn't have to throw it away. I could have just set it on the desk and let it sit there till the test was over, but I didn't. And yet I've had this absolutely delightful, funny story to tell on myself for years. And it is still tickles me to the point where I can giggle my way through it. I can feel how funny it felt to be sitting on the floor with students rushing at me going, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" It was funny. It was good. So if God is all there is, then everything in our life is God. Sometimes when we hesitate, we second guess ourselves when we're beginning something new. Ever do something like join a club and then, oh my gosh, now you have to participate? It took all your courage to get there, and then now you have to participate. That first time I walked into a Toastmasters club, yep, there, yes, right there. Didn't want to do that, but I did want to do it. I wanted to have done it. But the only way you get to the have done it part is you have to go through it until you do it. So if God is all there is, then everything in our life is God. Doubt of the circumstances in our human experience is a calling for reconnecting our humanness with our spiritual essence. The hesitation that we experience in our life is a blessing. It offers an opportunity to remember the fundamental truth that God is all there is. Even if we don't like it, even if we don't understand it, all of it is pointing to the fundamentals of new thought, the fundamental principles of new thought. There isn't this life and God's life. There's only one life. So let's move forward in conviction. Our dreams are our dreams for a reason. Your dreams are your dreams for a reason. I can't do your dreams. Only you can. But you can't do mine either. It's a good thing. Sometimes when we have that hesitation, it's doubt. Our ego regularly reminds us of all the possible doubts that it can. I will never finish this project. Have you ever said that? I will never finish this project. Well, the project will get finished if you keep working on it or if you ask for help. But if you keep telling it you will never finish it, you will probably never finish it. I can't tell you, probably 3 or 4, maybe a dozen projects folded up in drawers somewhere, books half written, notes, music started and not finished. Yes. Or what about the little voice telling you in your head, I'm not worthy of whatever it is that I want? Of course you're worthy. What about God is not worthy? God is worthy, of course, so you are. Must be. There's only one of us here, it's God. God is you, in you, as you, through you. Any doubt or hesitation only serves the ego in trying to hold you back. God has given you all that is needed. Trust and keep working, keep moving, keep doing. Do whatever the next step is. When Thomas Edison invented the light bulb, he tried over 2,000 experiments before he got it to work. A young reporter asked him how it felt to fail so many times. He said, I never failed once. I invented the light bulb. It just happened to be a 2,000-step process. Okay, that's a lot of steps. I trust that whatever it is that you're doing, it won't have 2,000 steps in it, but if it does, it does. It's okay. Many years ago at an INTA conference, Father Leo Booth told this true story on himself. I like these true stories on people tell on themselves, like me in the desk. Oh, well. He told of a trip to Bali he took for a spiritual conference at which he was speaking along with Michael Beckwith and Gerald Jampolsky. When he arrived at the airport to check in, he was told his passport had only 4 months left on it and that it needed 6 months to be legitimate. The agent suggested that he stop over in Singapore and get his passport renewed at the British Embassy before he went to Bali. He was told the process would take several days. Now, he was not happy. He had to be in Bali for this conference. He sat somewhat fretting and stewing, and as he sat there, a lady got up from her seat and went to the restroom. And when she came out, he noticed that her skirt was caught up in her underwear. He referred to this as a spiritual moment. What should he do? He toyed with the idea of gently trying to pull it out, but thought better of that. So he said instead, and I quote, "Excuse me, your skirt is stuck in your underwear." "Oh dear," she said, "I hate when I do that." "I thought it was better for me to tell you," he sheepishly muttered. "Thank you. I detect an accent. Are you from England?" He said, "Yes." And she said, "So am I, but now I live in Singapore." "What do you do?" Booth asked. Are you ready for the answer? "Oh, I work for the British Embassy in the passport division." Yes, within a day, he had his passport stamped and was on his way to Bali. God works. Yes. Okay, so we're on the new path, whether it's new job, new work opportunity, new diet, new spiritual experience, and you have this fear of failure. It's common, happens to all of us. The answer to that is, if they can, you can. So here are some biblical figures you might recognize who overcame their personal failures and their personal history. And if they could do it, so can you. Abraham was too old to father a child. Isaac was a daydreamer. Jacob was a liar. Lee was unattractive. Joseph was abused and abandoned. Moses had a stuttering problem. Gideon was afraid. Samson was a womanizer. Jeremiah and Timothy were too young. David was an adulterer and a murderer. Elijah was suicidal. Isaiah preached naked. Didn't know that about him, did you? I have to reread that part. Jonah ran from God. Job went bankrupt. John the Baptist ate bugs. Peter denied Jesus. The disciples fell asleep while praying. The Samaritan woman was divorced more than once. Paul was too religious. Timothy had an ulcer, and for heaven's sakes, Lazarus was dead. So if they overcame their failures and went on, so can you. Instead of you asking yourself, what if I fail? Ask yourself, well, what if I succeed? What if I succeed in step number 10 instead of step number 2000? I like to ask myself, what if it all goes right? What is the highest possibility in this moment? If I am envisioning and following Spirit's guidance, the way is usually as easy as I believe it will be. They are your dreams for a reason. I know a wonderful couple like Brad who decided to become ministers. I met them at Eastern Conference when they were at about the same place he is now, just taking classes. And several years later, I happened to be blessed to be on the licensing panel for the woman, Deborah. She was delightful. All of us on the panel, there's 3 ordained ministers and her and the panelee, going through this paneling process. We laughed. We generally had a good time. It was just great. And of course, she passed. A few hours later, I was walking through the building quietly because other panels were going on, and she stopped me and asked me to pray for her husband, David. She said he believed the panels would be hard, would be difficult. And indeed, his panel was. I did stop to pray, and he did pass his panel. You know, it's up to us. We can choose the easy way or we can choose the hard way. And we have the power to choose and choose again. When we hesitate because we don't know which way to go, sometimes we can just choose one way. Trust the information in that direction. And it might be that when you get down the path of ways, you realize this ain't the way I want to go. And then you can go a different direction. But now that's known, you can choose again. Sometimes we discern through action as opposed to knowing everything before we move. All is for us and all can serve us if we let it. We don't want to be like Brer Rabbit. I grew up with the Brers, and Brer Rabbit was invited to dinner on the same evening at the same hour at Brer Terrapin's home and at Brer Possum's home. There he stood hungrily at the crossroads. Do I eat with Brer Terrapin or do I eat with Brer Possum? First, he ran down the road towards Brer Possum's. Then he changed his mind and turned around and reversed himself and started to go to Brer Terrapin's. Then he changed his mind again and started to go back to Brer Possum's. With the thought of 2 meals awaiting him, he ran back and forth, unable to make a decision until he missed dinner at both places. This is your dream. Your life is your dream. You can make it what you want. A woman dreamed she was being chased by a bear. When the bear finally cornered her, she asked in terror, "Are you going to kill me? Are you going to kill me?" And the bear said, "I don't know, lady, it's your dream. You tell me." It's your dream. It's your dream. They are your dreams for a reason. As we begin new things, sometimes we experience the joy of the newness and the hesitation of uncertainty. And the opportunity is to feel the hesitation and appreciate its value, but not allow it to impede our forward movement. So this week, I suggest you take note of all the bless-itations in your life and be fully present with them and allow discernment to be your guide. So let us take this into prayer. Recognizing that there is only God, there is one power, it is everywhere present, it is in and through and as everything that exists, the power that is God is right here, right now, in and through, moving through each and every one of us, always. It is God. And so I know that the power that is God is moving through me in this moment. Through each of us here, we are one, it is God. It created everything. It can do anything. It is open to possibilities. And as that power that is God is moving through me, I am open to possibilities. Each of us here are open to possibilities. There is one of us here. And so I know that as the power that is God is moving through me, it is opening my mind and opening my heart. It's opening my mind to love, opening my heart to love. It's opening my heart and my mind to creativity, to health, to wellness, to abundance, to prosperity, to gratitude, to opportunity, to possibility, to acknowledging hesitation and moving through it, to stepping out into the dream that is mine. And I absolutely know that if it is true for me, it is true for each of us here. There is only God. And so I give thanks for this divine unfolding in this moment, in every moment, as I release this prayer into the law, which says yes, and we affirm it together by saying, and so it is. So I guess